Hello, beautiful children. I hope you like my added props for today. Are we ready? Rolling back the time. And one more. Rolling back the time. And one more. Rolling back the time and thinking and thinking and thinking. When you see this video, it will be in time for Parshat Vayelech in the 5th book of the Torah called Devarim. And we will have had Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year, wonderful Shana Tova, and we will be on our way in the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, in the timeline of 10 days, starting Rosh Hashanah, ending Yom Kippur. And so therefore we should all be on our best behavior and good. We should always be good, but we should be making extra special efforts to do teshuvah, to say sorry for things that we have done that aren't so good during the year. And there will be probably a separate video on Yom Kippur, as there should be a separate video, should have been on Rosh Hashanah. But these are the Parshiot videos. So, how come I've got a purple tea towel on my head? And a special, can you see my special headband with all the jewels on it? Okay, so what's happening is it's still Moshe, the leader, it's his last day. The 7th of Adar in the year 2448, it's his last day. And how old is he? Let's count it in tens. He's 120 years old. And he knows that he's going to go back to Hashem. Maybe he came to your camp and your tent to say goodbye. Maybe he went to somebody else's camp to say goodbye. And now everybody is still assembled for that 36-day speech that's shortly going to end. And Moshe has given his powers and he has relinquished, he's given up his duties for the new leader. Do you know the new leader's name? I don't think he was wearing this t-shirt, but I'm going to pretend that he was wearing purple robe, SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Medrash, that he was wearing purple with a crown. So you're going to have to imagine it's a sort of a crown, my headband. And he sat on a throne with the Sanhedrin, those very special 70 judges, and the law enforcers, and the Kohanim, and the Leviim, all sitting around on benches like you would do when you had assembly in school, when all the years could come together. Recently, probably the last year, you've all been in your own classrooms due to being in bubbles, but maybe as the new year starts, you'll be able to have assembly with all the classes together. And some of you might sit on the floor and some of the bigger ones might sit on benches. Okay, so Yehoshua, what is the advice to Joshua as a leader? What sort of leadership qualities do you think he needs? He needs to be tough. He needs to be strong. He needs to be firm. He needs to be fair. He needs to be kind. He needs to be effective. He needs to be efficient. He needs to be clever. He needs to be wise. He needs to be intelligent. He needs to be good. And I could carry on and on and on and on and on. And Joshua has all those qualities. Plus he is humble like Moshe. He doesn't push himself forward, but he's got all the necessary qualities to be a fantastic leader for Bnei Israel and get them into Israel, because Moshe is not allowed to go into Israel. He's not allowed to cross. Is it a road that he's not allowed to cross? Probably the little ones. You're not allowed to cross roads because you have to know very carefully to look both ways, left and right and left again, and be very careful when you're crossing, and obviously only to cross with the green man if you're special crossings. Wasn't a road that Joshua wasn't able to cross. He wasn't able to cross a certain river called the Jordan River. Sorry, Moshe wasn't able to cross a certain river called the Jordan River. Joshua was going to cross the Jordan River. Moshe was not, because Moshe was not allowed to go into Eretz Israel. He was going to go up to Har Novo. He was going to look at the Jordan River, see everything that was going to happen in the future, but he was not permitted to go into Israel because he hit the rock instead of talking to the rock at Mei Merivah, and therefore he was punished. So Yehoshua starts teaching Bnei Israel with his crown set with pearls and his purple robe. And in the future, we learn that when there were going to be kings of Bnei Israel and they would assemble Bnei Israel, they would assemble the men, the women, the children, the proselyte, those who identified or didn't identify as converts, and they would all have to assemble together. Could you say, well, the children don't bother because they don't understand? Would that be sensible? No, it doesn't matter if you don't understand. You're still important. You still need to learn about the Torah. And the king would read portions of the Torah to the Bnei Israel in the future on Sukkot, on Chol HaMoed Sukkot, and that was called Hakhel. And SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Medrash, that one of the good spies, Kalev ben Yefuneh, that he actually, from the tribe of Yehuda, that as Joshua was explaining the Torah instead of Moshe, that Kalev was explaining all the different bits about Hakhel. So there you've got everybody gathered around listening. And if you are a sofer, if you are a special scribe, I'm a scribe artist, that's different. I paint and I draw and I write poetry. But if you were a scribe, if you were a special scribe, you could write the Sefer Torah in parchment, the skin of an animal. And you'd use a feather in ink. And Moshe, SPS, some people say, aka also known as the Medrash, that he actually wrote 13 Sifrei Torah on the last day. That's quite incredible to think of because they can take years to write. Some people say he wrote one. Okay, so let's have a little catch up again. Here's the king. So we know that there's going to be a thing called Hakhel. And that's Moshe's last day on earth. The kings in the future would assemble the Israelites and read the Torah to them every 7 years after the Shemitah year to men, women and children. Moshe writes, he concludes, he finishes writing the Torah. The Levi'im are going to store that Torah in the Kodesh HaKodashim, in the Ark, in the Aron. And we also learn that Israel is a land flowing with. That's the answer. Is it flowing perhaps with hummus and avocado? No, I've given you the answer. Is it flowing with lemons and dates? Well, it might be, and dates are one of the special things, but no. Is it flowing with huge big plums and lemons? Natalie, you gave us the answer. It's flowing with milk and honey. What special foods can we think of that have got milk or honey in them? Does anybody like cream cheese with their smoked salmon bagel? That would have a product of milk in it. Yogurt with or without fruit? That would have milk in it, unless you get the vegan option, of course, for all of these things. Butter? Milkshake? What about honey? What about Rosh Hashanah? Dip the apple in the honey, make the bracha loud and clear. Shana Tova U'Metuka, may we have a sweet new year. So that would be honey cake. Honeycomb. When we get to Pesach, maybe we have charoset. That probably has got some form of honey in it or something sweet. Baklawas. And for those who like it and maybe still have it, simmus, which is sweet carrots. Okay. So there we go. We've learnt about Parshat Vayelech. We've learnt, don't be terrified, Joshua tells the people. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid, Moshe tells Joshua, and Joshua tells the people. Don't be broken-hearted and don't be broken in spirit. Don't get scared emotionally and think that you don't have a chance. You're worth it. You're equal. You'll do it. Don't let anyone bring you down with projective identification. Don't let anybody think you're not the special nation. Okay. And what have we been accused of by Moshe? Probably quite truthfully in the Bnei Israel's case in the Midbar, in the desert. You are rebellious. You don't listen. You're naughty. You are stubborn. You don't listen. You're naughty. Heaven and earth are my witness. You're going to be naughty after I go back to Hashem. And you might lose Eretz Israel. You might lose Israel for a long time, but you'll get it back. But that's because you got too clever and you got too satisfied with what you've got and you didn't appreciate me. Appreciate. You always need to be grateful and thankful for what you've got and not forget where you got it from. And even though you think it comes from you, there is a higher power in Hashem and the universe who has given you these things, and therefore you must not be self-entitled. You have to be careful and have humility, just like Moshe and Yehoshua, and belief in Hashem. Okay, we've learnt so much then, and I'm so proud of you. Let's put that Sefer Torah in the Aron, in the Kodesh HaKodashim section, and hope to see each other soon. Listen to your mummies and daddies and do what they say. Listen to your mummies and daddies. Please don't forget to pray. Listen to your mummies and daddies. The rabbis lead the way. Then they will be happy. Gmar Chatima Tova. To the older ones, much older ones, over 12 and 13, and those who can, fast well, be good. See you soon. Bye.